This is our homeland. We cannot, we will not, and we must not be made illegal in our own homeland.
If I might ask, have you had a chance to review the new law that was passed by the state of Arizona?
I have not reviewed it in detail. I certainly know of it, Senator.
So you're not prepared to make a judgment on it?
Senator, that is not a law. Let me just say this. As you know and are well aware, that's not the kind of law I would have signed.
We are not immigrants that came from another country to another country. We are migrants free to travel the length and breadth of the Americas because we belong here.
So Arizona, since the federal government totally fails to secure the border, desperately then passed laws to protect its own people. The law is supported by 70% of the people in Arizona, 60% of all Americans, and 50% of all Hispanics, according to the Wall Street Journal NBC poll done just this week. And I understand that you may file a lawsuit against the law. It seems to me the administration ought to be enforcing border security and immigration laws and not challenge them, and that the administration is on the wrong side of the American people. Have you read the Arizona law?
I have not had a chance to. I've glanced at it. I have not read it.
It's 10 pages. It's a lot shorter than the health care bill, which was 2,000 pages long. I'll give you my copy of it if you would like to have a copy.
We are millions. We just have to survive.
Have I read the law?
Yes.
No.
It's very short, 10 pages about. I got it right here in front of me. You're talking about the context of this law and you haven't read it?
I'm simply responding to a challenge that says that we at the Department of State were apologizing for America. We are actually standing up to America by saying this is how we function in a civil society. This is how we function under the rule of law. This is how we promote an independent judiciary in this country.
Last question.
This is how we promote vigorous political debate.
Janet Napolitano and Eric Holder, both who have been on talk shows criticizing this law, have sheepishly admitted they haven't even read it, and apparently you haven't either. Well, what's going on here?
We have an aging white American. They are not making babies. They are dying. It's a matter of time. The explosion is in our population.
As a militante of Unión del Barrio, a revolutionary Mexican organization here, we understand what the camarada is saying. You're right, this is not just about Mexico. This is about a global struggle against imperialism and capitalism. Yes. But we know that all of that is happening in the context that where we now stand is stolen, occupied Mexico.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we as Americans have a responsibility to protect our environment and to protect our homeland, and unfortunately we are failing at both. Our Border Patrol has done a wonderful job in the urban areas of this country. However, in rural areas where the United States owns about 40%, the United States federal government owns about 40% of the land from California to Texas, seem to not be doing quite as well, and that now becomes the prime area where evil groups like drug cartels and human traffickers, potentially terrorists, are now entering into this country. The rules, the regulations, our interpretations of the law are prohibiting our Border Patrol from actually fulfilling their functions. We have gaps, not only gaps in the fence, but gaps in our virtual fence, gaps in our monitoring that allow these groups to have open access, drug cartels, human trafficking cartels, potential terrorists, undetected and unfettered into this country.